Hello, and welcome to another installment of On Second Thought with Mike and Matt. This is episode 61, I believe. Yep, here we are, mid-July almost. And the gaming news is coming out at a precipitous clip, as one would like to say. But
a lot going on.
A lot of stuff. But we're gonna have all the happy. My plan for this elaborate show is to load it up with all the good stuff, the happy stuff in the beginning. And then we'll end on a dour note and send you all off, and you can go on with your day and deal with it from there. But yeah, welcome to the show, our bi-weekly meeting of the minds to discuss various things and things we shall discuss this week. But first, Matt, how are you? How is, if anybody listened to Hot Off the Presses episode of Retro World Order last night or today, I like to discuss the weather at the top of all my podcasts. So how is the weather in Ohio, Matt?
Steamy, hot, humid. Today wasn't too bad. We're that type of year where, like, in the afternoons, you have to get your pop-up thunderstorms and all that happening. It happens every day. It seems like it just brings up the humidity, and then it rains, and it drops a little bit, then it rises again. In the mornings, you walk out of the house, and it hits you in the face. That fog and that humid in the morning, just sticky, nasty.
Well, when I was having this conversation last night with Los, we do it without video. You can't have too many handsome men in one video. I understand. So we just do an audio podcast only, but we can see each other here, so I can gauge your reaction when I tell you that yesterday morning when I stepped foot outside, it was a nice 68 degrees, sir.
Yeah. Yes. When you texted me that yesterday, I was like, holy cow. Yeah. That sounds actually very, very nice.
Today was back to being hot and humid. We're in the the mid 80s, mid to high 80s.
I would love to have that.
But anyways, Matt, can you tell me, sir, the last time you went to a concert? We're not talking about Backbeat now. That you went to a real concert, Ticketmaster, Live Nation type of extravaganza. You bought your tickets, you sat down, or you were standing, and you were watching a band.
It was definitely before COVID.
Okay.
I want to say it was probably the last concert I went to was probably a Kid Rock concert at Riverbend.
Oof.
2018, 2019, somewhere that summer, probably.
So you're probably familiar with the call response type of things that go on these shows. I might sing a line and you might say something back. I think this is important. Yeah. This is important today, Matt. Let me get out my microphone so I can sing for you, and let me know if you know the next line, because today,
we're doing some crowd involvement here, is what you're saying. Some crowd involvement.
Rest in peace, Bonnie Tyler. So,
oh, God.
Every now and then I get a little bit lonely and you're never coming around. Come on, Matt. Don't leave me hanging.
Turn around.
Shall I go on? No.
Bright eyes. Turn around. This is a hard turn around. Every day.
Bring it on home, Matt. She wasn't that old. Mid-70s, not too,
I didn't know that she was Welsh.
Oh yeah.
I had no idea. Found that out today. Yeah, poor girl went in. Cardiac arrest.
I think she was in Portugal or Spain or something like that. I think she
Portugal. Yeah. Went in for I want to say routine surgery or something like that, and just never recovered, I believe.
Yep, that can happen. That happened to our buddy Tino from way back in the gamers and beta days. He went in for certainly not by no stretch of the imagination or a routine surgery, and unfortunately, he did not make it after that. So yeah, these things can happen.
I mean, we all can't be lucky like Mitch McConnell and be on, some type of zombie life support thing.
Hey, you went to a Kid Rock show. You can't be talking crap about Mitch McConnell. You're supposed to be in lockstep.
This is before.
You're supposed to be in lockstep
before Kid Rock. This is before Kid Rock went crazy.
I got you. Yeah. So Bonnie Tyler, rest in peace. All the kids listening, the youth, the legions of youth that we have listening to us, will not remember the MTV days. There was, a time where you couldn't watch MTV more than an hour and not have that video on. Right? Very strange. I was watched that a little bit today. Very strange video. Guys in bathing suits with goggles and getting water dumped on them, and she's talking about, turn.
Yeah. It's quite odd when you actually look at that, now versus then. He was quite the looker, back in the day.
She had a very 80s look to her with the sort of Farrah Fawcett haircut or something like that.
Oh, absolutely. The puffy hair and all that. Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely. That's unfortunate.
It is. But this is what happens.
It is. It is what happens. We all
I don't want to
meet our demise.
I feel like I want to skip the next story and go to this other one and then come back to this one. I did not plan it that way. But since these are your stories, I can, you can decide which order you want them to go in.
We'll go in the order they're written here. But both of them are pretty good. The first one, so it came about, a week or two ago. I found my sister has cancer. Okay, that's upsetting. It's sad, but the good news is, it's a stage 1 type of cancer. It's a very rare and aggressive cancer, but stage 1, they got everything out. Won't go into too much further detail about that. But this past Thursday, I had to go with my sister to the oncologist, talk to him. She wanted someone with her to be able to catch all the stuff, ask questions and, write things down stuff while she was, trying to pay attention to what's going on. So he's going through his whole spiel and stuff, all that. She's going to have chemo. They put a port in, so she's going to start chemo here next week. And just kind of, prognosis, all the stuff that's going on in that. Can she still work? Should we do this? What does this mean? Treatments of chemo, all the stuff in that, and I'm writing down answers and all that stuff, writing things down on my little notepad and that. And so at the end, the doctor was like, all right, are there any questions? Anything that you guys want to talk about? It was kind of silent for about 30 seconds or so. I looked up at the doctor, very serious. I said, I have a question. And, I'm curious, with the chemo and the radiation that, she's going to get. He says, yeah. It says, will she gain any superpowers from any of this? And he was very deadpan serious. He stopped, he looked, and kind of nodded his head like, what? My sister looked at me, and she just started laughing. And he kind of started to laugh, kind of nervously. And I still, kind of just, looking at him. And Polly, I just started laughing too, and he started laughing. Like, I don't think so. I think I don't think so. It just one of the things kind of break the tension type of thing.
Amazing if he said yes. By the way, haven't you heard? That's good. You gotta go. I guess got to go into these things with some humility and
exactly.
Easy for you to say, sir, since you're not the one getting the port and getting the chemo. You can be all light and airy over there,
Correct. Yes, you are correct, sir. You're correct. But my sister, later that day, she's like, later this evening, this doctor is probably going to be like with his wife, with some friends. All of a sudden, that's going to hit him again. And he's going to be like, what the fuck did that guy ask me this afternoon? Why? What was going on there?
You're like, why did I get in this profession?
Exactly. I'll tell you what, man, the doctor was good. He was awesome. He knew his stuff. He wasn't afraid to say he didn't know about some of the stuff we asked him. He was good. He was straightforward. He had some empathy to him. I'll tell you what, if there's anyone to talk to about cancer, it would have been this guy. He was great. But my sister's doing well. Like I said, they caught it, but she's got to get the chemo. Because apparently when you have like a cancer type thing, they take it out, like there's still cells floating around in you type of thing. So you still got to do like the chemo and that to kill that off. So I mean, it's a long process ahead. She's like gotta go like every 3 months for the next couple of years, get checked and stuff like that. But I mean, outlook looks pretty good. They got it very early, so it's good. But unfortunately, it's a rare and aggressive cancer. But the prognosis looks to be pretty good. So that's pretty cool there.
It's cool to come out on the other end of it and say, hey, I had this something rare and aggressive, and I beat it. So hopefully that is exactly that is the case, and we'll be certainly wishing her well and all of you.
Yeah. It was awesome. So it was good.
Good. I understand the fish were biting the other day out at the pond, the lake, the ravine, the creek. The body of water?
For some people, Noah and I on Friday, July 3rd, went out fishing again. Hot, steamy weather, and we decided to go out fishing for some goddamn reason out in this lake. We went out there, had a nice time. Bar by. Noah went out. She sat on the bank and read her book and that. We went floating around, doing some things, fishing that. He did pretty damn good. He got some bites. Almost fell out of his kayak. I caught a couple of trees when I was, throwing my line out.
Wait. So, I don't know if I was privy to this before. You guys were in kayaks?
Yes, we were in kayaks.
Individual kayaks.
Individual kayak.
And you didn't
two different kayaks.
And you were able to, in a sitting down position, throw out your line, reel it back in, and not flip over into the water.
Correct, sir.
Oh.
Correct. Yes, for the most part.
And these were kayaks you rented there? You rent, or are they just there to use?
No, we actually went out and bought a couple kayaks.
Oh, jeez.
We went out, bought a couple kayaks. Dick's had for 50% off. We found a bargain and decided to do it. My son, he's been fishing for a while, doing stuff here and there with the fishing net, and he wanted to, maybe go a little bit further. So he wanted to buy a kayak, so I bought a kayak. And then I went down in the garage, look at all my fishing stuff that I thought I had. I'm going through my tackle boxes and stuff and looking at my fishing poles. I was like, where's all my shit?
Where's all my... You know what happens.
Yeah, I know exactly what happened. It ended up in my son's hands throughout the years, and some of my rods and reels were in disrepair. So I had to go buy myself some new tackle, buy myself a new fishing rod. We had a good time. It was hot, man, and like I said, I caught a couple of trees. I was there casting, a little too vigorous with my casting, and a little too high. Got some trees. Had to cut line, put new bait on. Again, fish. Noah almost had a couple of bites, or not had a couple of fish. He actually had bites. He actually almost reeled a couple in, but they jumped line. But he was out there for a couple of hours. Came back, man. My arms were sore after that. Holy cow, my arms were sore, and it was so I got burned. My legs got burnt. Oh man.
Nothing. There ain't no tan like a jort tan.
I'll tell you what, dude. I'm sure I got the farmer's tan happening here.
And what were you going to do if you caught one of these? You would catch and release, or you bringing it home and putting it on the
catch
the
and release? Yeah. No, catch and release.
And all these things that you've procured, I didn't hear one iota about safety first. Dress for the slide, not the ride. I didn't hear anything about a life jacket, a life vest.
Yep. Life jackets. It's law in Ohio. A boat, which they consider a kayak, but we had to get these things registered with the state. You have to have a life jacket. You have to have a whistle. If you're going to be out at night, you have to have lights. But so yeah, we had our life jackets. Whistles.
Now you need to take this to another step. Being on a kayak is that's what I want is to see Mr. Helmer doing a Ted Williams thing here. I want the hip waders on, and you're in the there's a little bit of a current going by you, and you're doing that fly fishing. That's
a whole other thing. Fly fishing, man.
Yes.
That's a whole other thing.
In a couple of years, step up your game.
I had a hard enough time, casting my line without hitting trees and shit. Like I said, I lost about 3 or 4 different lures.
I would have just been out there watching Noah, and I would have had my Steam Deck playing Cast and Chill.
That's what it ended up being. Near the end, I got tired of chasing after shit, so I just sat there and floated around with Noah and watched him go and cast. Of course, my luck with bringing the Steam Deck out there, it would have, been bad news. It was, phones and keys and stuff were all wrapped up and tied down and everything. It was nice. It was a good time. We're definitely going to be going out again, doing it again. Doing some more. Hopefully better luck next time.
You need to get into some This is a plan. I just I come up with these great ideas when I podcast. As soon as the lights,
I know you do.
As soon as the lights go off, I'm dumb as a doorknob. I think I've seen not. I haven't seen it in probably person, but you need to figure out how to weld your bike to the kayak, and you can be out there getting some exercise. On the, I've seen people do that.
Yeah, well, they make kayaks with pedals, where and it paddles like for you, paddle kayak type thing. They make those where you could go out and you could be doing that type of thing. I tell you what, it would have been nice having something like that or like a little trolling motor, because you go you paddle. We found out we need anchors. Because we'd paddle, okay, and then kind of stop, cast, and then we're still like moving. Or like, I cast this way, I'm casting this way, and all of a sudden I'm
oh shit! Just let this,
like that. And it's like shit. I got paddle back around. I
would have lasted 5 minutes. Been like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Well, you could just have, just Barb could, just give a rope to Barb, Sitting on the have her tie it around a tree or something. When you give her the high sign, she
can pull me in.
They have those.
That'd work well.
I talk like I've seen these things before, but sometimes they have those things like you can almost. It's like a ski lift, like you're just like, pull you back in.
Yeah, there's like a cable going across. You just grab on the cable and it pulls you or whatever.
Yeah,
that type of thing. Yeah.
Lynn always wants to do kayaking, and I'm like, no, you make the money here. We'll be up Schitt's Creek. You go fucking under. You go tits up in there, and I fucking, have to take the lead here. I go, we'll be in a cardboard box within a year. I was like, you can't go out there. There's a lot of things I'd like to do in life too that I can't have. So, why do you get to do kayaking?
Well, I mean, you got the life jackets. I'm sure you guys both know how to swim, right?
I do. Yeah, she does too. Yeah.
Okay, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I'm sure there's some beautiful lakes up in.
She wants to take it out. She wants to take it out in the goddamn harbor.
I don't know about that.
Charles River over there, the Esplanade. Where they have the fireworks out there.
Well, it's like they do. Every year here they got this thing called Paddle Fest on the Ohio River. I say, I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, I'm happy going out, some of these lakes and stuff, right? Like the lake we was at last week, it's a non-powered lake. So that means it's kayaks, paddle boards, canoes, trolling motors only.
Ain't no canoe like a Gary canoe.
But there's the lake close to us. It's like unlimited. So there's like speedboats and all that shit out there. So it'd be a little more different. But I mean, we'd be like out, fishing going along the shore and stuff. We're not going to be going out in the middle of the lake. But
I was out in I don't know if it's, I guess northwestern or Mass on Monday. Shelburne Falls, which is it's not an official town, but it is a merging of Buckland, Mass, and Shelburne, Mass. It's one of the 10 villages of that area. So a couple things. I love these villages. I'm saying to Lynn, I could live here.
Mm-hmm.
Just old school downtown. What do they call that old school parking, Matt? Where you kind of like back in the 50s and head on parking, but like at an angle.
Angled parking.
But you drive like a downtown area. Like if I drive down in my downtown or downtown, everybody's parking alongside the curb, right?
Yeah, parallel parking.
Yeah. These ones, though, it's like kind of like more old school, right? Like you see,
you go on the street and you're like, oh, it's like a 60 angled parking. It's called angled parking. It's civil engineering. What we do, angled parking, where you go and you back out.
Yeah.
Compared to now, it's parallel parking, where you go and you got to pull along the curb. Yeah. Some little towns still have the angled parking and all that stuff going on.
Yeah. So and there's a lot of dams there, hydro dams. They got all the the stations there, so it was cool to see all that. And I'm sure back in the day that was all, they had guys working there probably around the clock, and now it's all just friggin' no one working there, all automated.
Yeah,
they said it actually gets all controlled up in Vermont, which wasn't too far away from where we were. So yeah, I love those villages. Lots of places to eat, some breweries. Nice and quiet. Everybody respectful.
That small town charm.
Yeah. I said to Lynn, I come to these places and I don't know. I feel something deep in my bones, but then it always becomes just talking about with your sister. You get sick like that, and there's no great care around you. You end up having to go back closer to the main cities to get that. Unless you just want to sit and rot on your property and just, let's see how things shake out. But yeah, we had a good time, good drive. It was only about an hour and 10 minutes away. Nice relaxing Monday with the dog out in the wilderness.
Yeah, going out to the farm, there's a West Union goes through there, and you got right in the middle of the town there. You got the courthouse, everything right there, and it's got the angled parking, and it's very small town feel to it. To it, the old family pharmacy across the street and all that. The old, some little stores and that. That type of thing where everybody kind of knows everybody.
Oh, I'm telling you. So I was there on a Monday. Nothing was open on a goddamn Monday. I couldn't get any food. Oh. I couldn't get any food in the town we stopped in. Every restaurant was closed on Monday. And Lynn's like, go over there. I think I see someone in that one. She was sitting down with the dog at this park bench. So I cross the street to go over, and I peek inside, and there's just people cleaning up for the weekend. They weren't serving any food. And I look around, and there's some guy sitting next to Lynn. Speaking about everybody knows, he wanted to talk to my dog and hang out, and all throughout the town, there's all these murals with, what do you call those murals? I'm asking you all sorts of questions of things I don't know. Like little like stone murals, you know what I mean? Like different colors. Mosaics, thank you. He was like, oh, have you seen the mosaics through town? He's like, my wife and I built those. On every side of every building there was one, and he was saying, I've lived here since 1973. And you mentioned the pharmacy. He's like, I'm headed to the pharmacy to drop off something. He's like, nice meeting you. I was like, yeah, nice meeting you. 2 seconds later, he comes back around. They still haven't found a pharmacist. I got to drive all the way to Greenfield now to get this prescription.
That sucks.
Yeah. But those are things you do in the summer. And other things you do in the summer, Matt, is the Steam sale.
Yes.
And the Steam sale just wrapped up earlier today. As one is ought to do, you maneuver things in and out of your cart during the 10 days, shuffle them in, shuffle them out, and then see where you land at the end. Did you land anywhere, or you said, no, I spent all my money on a kayak, I'll catch you next summer?
Unfortunately, I did not get anything. When it first started, I was there looking at stuff, but things kind of went off the wayside with everything going on. And unfortunately, I did not get anything this year on the summer sale. I kept getting emails like, "Oh, this on your wish list is for sale. This is for sale." This, blah blah blah. I was like, "Shit," and I never followed up with it. Never got home and followed up with it or anything like that. So it's kind of on me. I did probably miss out on some good stuff. Some of them games that we've talked about on here before were on sale and that. So I did not unfortunately get anything. What about you? Did you take?
Yeah, I picked up about 10 or 15 things, all shmups. It is a crippling. Nice. It is a crippling addiction. All shmups. I probably spent, again, $70 on 15 games. you know what I mean?
That's not bad.
They're all, I don't think anything was really above $7.99. So just a lot of those. Played through a few of them today. They're all great little games to play on the Steam Deck and these other things. So I was playing Caldarius Blaze, I think is how you pronounce it. I think that's how I'll have to look at my library there to be 100% sure. But it's just, a shmup, some anime people in it and things like that. It plays absolutely, Steam had first of all, it was $3.99. Steam had no feedback on it on the Steam Deck, but I looked at, the Google search in the community, and they said, yeah, it works fine in the Steam Deck. And then I played it on my AYN Thor, which is the clamshell Android device using Game Native. Worked absolutely fine on that. So, yeah, very happy with that purchase and look forward to diving into all the other ones. My relaxing shmup time every day playing them. So, yeah, I was very happy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if those games that you bought there, if it's going to be playable on some of them handhelds you got.
Yep. I think so. There might be a few that I could run into some obstacles with, but like there was one that I really wanted. It was $1.99. I played the demo, and I liked the demo, but it didn't. It had some like keypad, keyboard bindings would come up and stuff like that instead of the controllers. So that one might not work, but it's $1.99. I might just play that on PC instead. So.
What about the Steam Deck or the Ally? Would it work on?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
One of those?
I played it on the Steam Deck, the demo. And the demo had like all sorts of like key binding things. I couldn't get the game to fire. Okay, I get. Now, sometimes those demos aren't as optimized as the full game, so it's not a true story of what may or may not happen. But yeah, so. Yeah, there was a lot of things I was kicking back and forth. I wanted the mouse PI game, and there was some other.
Yeah, me too.
There was some other things, but I said, I am just in the mood for shoot 'em ups and bullet hells and bullet heavens right now. And it was only 20% off, so I was like, that could be a game that could slide into like PS Plus here at some point. So and Steam always has sales, so I will.
It's true.
I kept that in the wish list and went with the shmups that I wanted to play. Yeah, so I'm so very happy, very, very happy.
But that's good. That's good.
Yep, and then you got to figure out when the next sale. I don't think. Is there, there'll be some other stuff end of summer. Probably the big one is not till the fall sale. They usually have the winter, summer, fall, spring. But they'll have a bunch of, things in between where you can take advantage of, which, again, with the stories we have later, leads into the discussion about, is Steam really the place that, spend our time and money going forward?
Mm-hmm.
Things to consider. So yeah, and Valve and Gabe, must be busy on the boat. He has not sent me my invite yet for the Steam machine. I'm seeing other people out there in the U.S. getting the invite and already have them shipped. I think by the time they order them, they get them very, very quick.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look here, Matt, and
just wait and see. It could be right. It could be right now happening.
Let me just look in the. I got with a fine tooth comb here.
I see that.
I'm looking through the lens. Oh, what does it say? Every now and then I get a little bit tired listening to the sound of my tears. Come on, man. You got to get a little quicker than that, When I'm hitting those harmonious notes, you got to, you got to give it to me.
Well, when you're hitting harmonious notes, and then you switch to me to sing, I can't fucking sing, dude. No one in my family can. I remember back in church where you would, like sing hymns and stuff. And
I lift me up on eagle's wings.
Yeah, my dad was terrible. It was both my mom terrible. You'd listen, I was like, Jesus Christ, you guys sound terrible singing here. Just like mouth it, just lip sync.
That's one of my favorite songs at church. You remember that one? They played that at like
Eagle's Wings.
Played that at like my grandfather's funeral and stuff like that. Lift
Amazing
me
Grace
up
is mine.
on eagle's wings.
Yeah. They played that at my mom's funeral. That was pretty. It's pretty good. That and Amazing. I love Amazing Grace.
Is Amazing Grace a religious something you would play at a church though? It's more like graveside. Like I'll tell you. You know what God? What do they call that when you get a little verklempt?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They played taps at my grandfather's at the graveside because my grandfather was in World War II.
Yeah. I bet. Yeah, that was probably. Yeah, that's. Yeah. Did you get a 21 gun salute or just tapped?
They had some guy there shooting something off. I don't know if it was 21 guns. I can't remember that. Yeah. After 5, I probably would have been like, knock it off, all right?
We're done. We had enough.
They did, they had some guy come out, because he was very proud of his service, and they have a guy come out that takes the American flag off the casket and folds it up the way, and
folds it up.
And handed it to my mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Speaking of mothers and grandfathers, I sent you the thing earlier in the week that my father's parents, who have both been dead for a very long time, 85 and 95. Those not the age; those are the years they died. The house that they raised the majority of their kids in, and the house that I knew when I would go over and visit my father's parents is up for sale. And they let that house really go to waste, but it's in a hell of a location in the greater Boston area. 5-10 minutes from public transportation and all sorts of universities, and we won't get into what it's listed for, but it is quite the sum, you would say.
It is quite the handsome penny for
something that they probably got sub $50,000 back in the day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's a long time. That's a long time to as you think about that, I'm just ballpark estimate when they got that. Let's say they got that in 1960. I could be off a couple years, either here or there. That's 66 years sitting on that. It's not like something you bought like 10 years ago and then flip it, for an exorbitant amount. That's 66 years you're paying, upkeep of the house, which they didn't do.
Fortunately. Yeah. But still, I mean, it sounds like it's going to sell and it's going to go. So.
Oh yeah, my other grandparents lived right around the corner. Old school, story, right? Both of my grandparents, sets of my grandparents lived right around the corner from me. A 5-minute walk. And so my mother's family sold that house very, very quickly, as soon as my grandfather died in 2019. And no one is buying this house to live in it. Private equity will buy it. A landlord type, tycoon will buy it. Gut it all out. It's probably still got knobs and tubes in that damn house. When they, when my other grandparents sold their house, they had some. When they did a big, huge renovation to put a kitchen in, there was all knob and tubes in there, and they had to get rid of them. So.
Someone will buy it, either rent it out, Airbnb, cottage kids, or something.
Professors at the college there. Yep. Yes, sir. Well, before we get into what we've been playing, I did get a new device. Can't really. I put a picture up on the.
Yes.
The retro channel here. This is the Ioneo Pocket Air Mini X. It's a limited edition. That maroon and gold. It comes preloaded with a bunch of, famous Chinese video games that I'm not aware of, but I will soon dive into. It's an Android-based. It's funny how with some of these chipsets on them, they only can run certain versions of Android. So I don't know, like on your phone or your tablets, if you know what version of Android you're running. But this one here has Android 11 on it. So it's kind of a couple versions back. So it's not as intuitive as some of the other Android devices I've had. So I've been having to deal with when you look at some of these instructions or just remembering doing it from other systems, you're like, wait a second, this doesn't look the same anymore, and I'm trying to familiarize myself with that. But it feels very, very premium compared to all the other ones I have. I put this in my hand and I go, this is a cut above. And it's an entry level, emulation. We'll play up to about, PS1, PSP, maybe a little PS2, but not much beyond that. It's really about the N64, Dreamcast, PSP, PS1 era, 4:3 aspect ratio games.
I'm telling you, Mike, I need your guidance here. I need you to pick me one out, buy it, program it, send it to me, let me know what the build is, and I'll
Yeah.
uh, get you the money.
I got to find the right one. I got to find that sweet spot. You know what I mean? It's like that finding that magic lure that's going to bring in all the fish. You know, I got to find that.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it seems like a pretty, I don't know, hobby is the right word, but it seems like pretty cool. All those little devices, programming them, and so forth.
To me, it does. To Lynn's chagrin, not so much.
Yeah, I can imagine. Just yeah.
At what point At what point is the federal government going to step in and go, "What is this guy getting all these shipments from China?"
Yeah.
What kind of watch list am I getting myself on here?
Yeah, I won't comment what Barb said when I went out and bought all this fishing gear again.
Did you show her the net and the bleach and the buckets? No. We kid on this show. I'm kidding. I'm starting to sound like Mr. Warmth, Don Rickles. No, we kid.
Classic.
I go down those Don Rickles rabbit holes about at least once a month.
Man, you get on YouTube and you see the reel or whatever, and you click on it, and you just start scrolling through, and you know him, fucking Steve Martin or Dean Martin, just trying to tip my tongue. His name.
There was
the black guy, the black singer,
Sammy Davis.
Sammy Davis. Yeah. You know, man, they just all get together and just
go
to town.
Those roasts.
Oh man. Oh.
There was one comedian on there that I never heard of before. His whole thing was acting like he was drunk. He would have bubble guts, and he would he would talk, and he would it was hard to get up and everything. But I guess he was like a total dry guy. He was almost to the point that he was like anti-drinking, but his whole shtick was him being a drunk. And they were like roasting Betty White one day, and he was like going on this whole thing, yeah, I'm back with my broad Betty White, and he's like, he falls down, and Dean Martin's got to pick him up.
Yeah. Yes, I know who you're talking about now. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm sure this is very riveting for our listeners, all five of them. But let's get into what we have been playing. I have been doing. Why don't you go? And I'm going to get something over there so I can give better answers than I have been. So you talk about
people can see too.
Yes.
So people can see it too.
Yeah, and I will be right back. So let people know what you've been playing.
So I've been doing Crimson Desert. Has been my jam the past couple weeks. I have gone further into that game. I'm on chapter 7 now. It's kind of funny. It's one of those games to where you figure things on your own, but if you go through the main story and the quest, it tells you some of these things that you discover on your own. So you've already done it, type of thing. The world is so huge in this game, and so much to see, so much to discover. The puzzles are pretty cool in it, because there's puzzles to unlock travel points and other things. Lots of mystery. The one thing I don't like about this game, the fishing. The fishing can be difficult. The way you do it, and there's a lot of fishing you have to do. The hunting's fun. The characters are lively and good. I've got a ton of people in my camp now, which is one of the main points of the game, is get your camp up and going. And just kind of establish trade routes, all this stuff. So the more you play, the more complicated it gets, but the more automated it can be, because you have more comrades and people on your side that you can set to do things. for you.
Well, is it a Russian adventure, Comrades?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Doctor.
Doctor. But you can send them on missions and like collect stone and rock and wood and things like that. I know the one night I was complaining about Mike. I was like, man, I need onions, I need vegetables, I need this and that. Well, I was able to get together and build a farm at my camp. So now I can get all that shit at my camp now to make meals and stuff, because that's your main form of health. So it's coming around, but the game get repetitive at times, but it's good. It's a fun game. There's a lot to it. They're always updating it. Well worth the money spent. Everything you can do in it. The game looks incredible on the PS5 Pro. It's something neat. The game is not for everybody, because it's a game that will consume a lot of time. Yeah. And then so that's the big thing. And then here and there, throwing in some MLB The Show. Utilizing the portal for that. Red Dead Redemption 2. Been playing on the PS5 and on the portal. That I finished up the latest DLC for Power Wash Simulator 2, the Adventure Time stuff that they had.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, the last quest that was a pain in the ass to do. I'm glad it's over with. I'm looking forward to coming out here, I think soon, a Star Wars DLC. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that's going to be fun and exciting to do. Can't wait for that to come out. But that's, besides the fishing, going to the farm, life at home, cutting up jokes with the doctor. That's been kind of been what I've been up to and doing so forth.
Nice. Very good, sir.
What about you, sir?
Well, I put a hurting on The Witcher 3.
Yep.
I really got the bug for that, so I completed the story the other day, the main story, and the whole time I replayed it the second time here. I don't know how many times I've played it, but let's just, for the sake of this argument, let's say it's my second playthrough. I totally forgot there was a gazillion different types of endings.
Mm-hmm.
Totally escaped my mind for some reason. And the only reason it triggered for me is I think I got the same ending, maybe minus a couple things. So I'm never straying from Yennefer. I'm loyal to her, thick and thin. Triss is an attractive woman, but Yennefer is my lady. So no matter what was going down, I was sticking with Yennefer. So we had a nice home in the country again and lived a quiet life together. I don't remember in my first playthrough that the Nilfgaards lost the war to the Redanians. And so Radovid defeated, Emir. I didn't. And, so if Radovid wins, that means all the sorcerers and the magic people continue to get, persecuted and round up and burnt and killed. And then the most important thing is what happens with Ciri. And again, I've spaced about all the different endings, and my ending, at least 2 out of the 3, were the same as my initial playthrough. And I don't know, is it too late to talk? Is it too spoilers at this point? I mean, I don't know, but
the game's been out forever.
So yeah, you got this sort of thing where Ciri's got to jump in this sort of cosmic universe to defeat the White Frost, And if you don't defeat, the White Frost, then the world is doomed. And she like kind of sacrifices herself to go into the White Frost, and the game makes it think like she's dead because you go to Amir, and Amir's like, "Where's my daughter?" And she's like, you say to him, well, she sacrificed herself for the greater good. And Amir's like, "I never want to see you again. Here's your coin, blah, blah, blah." And then you go to sort of like, this blacksmith appears, and you get this like nice sword made for yourself. And you think you're about to go off and become like, a witcher again and, take on contracts. But you say you got to go to one more place, and you go to this tavern, and there's this, you immediately recognize the boots and the heels and the cloak, and there's like, Ciri, and you give her the sword, and she's ready to go off to be a witcher just like you. And you're like, yes, that's the fucking ending I wanted, So yeah, now I am playing post the main story, and I am into the DLC stuff, and boy, it's a lot harder. Like everybody, I'm level 36 and everybody else is like level 33, but it's a lot of enemies thrown at you at level 33. So it's not like just a one-on-one fight. So I am dying a lot. So I got to look at some builds now. I got to look at, maybe doing some lower level contracts to build myself up, and maybe go find some of those gear sets and things of that nature. So I don't feel so spongy here, even though I'm 3 levels ahead of the people I'm playing against. So it's good comfort food, The Witcher. It is good. It's good for the soul.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it is.
So yeah,
cozy game.
Yep. So transition to other stuff. The shmups. What I have here in my hands that no one else can see except Matt is my Steam Deck.
Looks huge.
The OLED looks huge in my hands. The beauty of shmups, Matt. I have 91 games installed on here.
Jesus Christ!
Because these shmups sometimes are only 65 megabytes, or a couple hundred megabytes. So, I've been playing through the Caladrius Blaze. That's one I was talking about earlier. I guess there's some nudity at some point in that game. I haven't encountered it yet, but it's just kind of like busty anime women. I did pick up a adult themed shmup today. I haven't played it too much yet. It's called Maidens of a Hollow Dream. I guess that one gets a little perverted. They actually call that one sexual content. So we'll see. I did play during the demo during the week. It was it Butt Night or Butt Rocket? I was telling you and Rico.
Butt Night.
It was a shmup called Butt Night, and it just played too slow. So I didn't buy that one. Yeah, but I have been playing a bunch of these other ones here. Ones that really caught my attention here is Blue Revolver. I really like that one. Then I downloaded a bunch of demos too to just try out various different things. And one thing I did download that is, not a shmup, that's completely out of my wheelhouse. It looks fantastic on the Steam Deck, but boy, there's a lot of dialogue in this. It's that Elliot game that Square Enix put out. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, it's a fantastic looking game. You got to like the JRPGs, kind of a top-down look to them. It seemed to run completely fine on the Steam Deck, but there's just a lot of dialogue. You got to really be into the JRPGs to get into that. But that was interesting to play. Some of the other shmups that I've been digging on here. Maybe one or two more. Is some of these are in Chinese. I can't even read them, so it's kind of a little tough to give you the names here, but I was playing a lot of this demo of it's got a bunch of Chinese at the top, but it looks like Revolver Deliverer Zero or Revolver Gear Zero. Easy for me to pronounce. But they're so damn relaxing, and I don't what I'm finding myself when I'm playing them is I am getting adept at them, that I can now maneuver. Years ago when I tried to play these, I could never maneuver in between the bullets, right? Just the onslaught, and I feel like I get into such a zen place with this that I they say when baseball players and athletes in general feel like they've mastered their sport, like everything slows down. So you can imagine us being like trying to play quarterback like Tom Brady, and it must be like a guy's coming at you like a million miles an hour going, how the hell am I throwing this ball? And eventually he's like, the game just slows down and he can just see where everybody is and just meticulously throw the ball. That's what feels like the more and more I play the shmups. Everything just sort of, even though it's super fast, the game just slows down and I get to that zen point.
I get that feeling sometimes when I play Amateur Survivor.
I thought you were going to say something else.
Oh. I don't know what that feeling is. I'm looking here at this blue revolver. It was like a classic arcade game, man.
Yeah. There was one I was playing the other day. I can't find the name of it, but there was like this woman came out of nowhere and she's got like guns shooting out of like her fake metal breast, and then like you shoot them off and then she dies. I mean, where else are you getting that type of entertainment? I don't know. But
you're correct.
So I think the path forward here is I want to keep chipping away at the Witcher 3 DLC because I've never finished Blood and Wine, and what's the other one called? Heart of something.
Something
along
Heart
those
and Soul.
lines.
Heart and Stone.
Maybe
Earthwork, something like that. Yeah.
So I need to finish those. I have made a recognition that I am not great with DLC. I bought the DLC for that Horizon latest game. I beat Horizon, and then I just never went back and did the DLC. I've done the same thing with the Outer Worlds, the first one. I don't know. It's something about like when you play a game for a long time and then you beat the story. Like this coming down. Like you get all this like pent up energy, excitement, anticipation, and then you beat the story, and you just feel like, I don't know, dour, crestfallen a little bit, and then like to try to go back to it, it's like a continuation, but it's not going to be as good as the main story. And sometimes I feel like that happens with me in DLC.
I like Wedding Night.
It's been downhill since. But I mean that is, I mean, could we have a better segue of what's next? Because you went over everything you played, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So here we are, Matt. Get into the news here. Get into this. Now these. Go ahead.
Is there much gaming news going on past couple weeks? Trying to.
It's been a little light. And these stories here, I think the 3 or 4 that I have here are all right from the horse's mouth. These are not like stories that are like hearsay, rumors, speculation.
No. Yeah.
These are all, so Sony will end physical disc production ending in January 2028 for new games releasing on PlayStation consoles. Okay. As consumer preferences in the broader entertainment industry continue to shift away from physical disc to digital, physical game disc production for all new games releasing on PlayStation consoles will be discontinued starting January 2028. This is a natural direction for Sony to adapt to consumer trends as the general preference for digital media significantly outpaces physical disc. We'll continue to prioritize our resources to drive innovation in how players can access games and provide choices as to where players prefer to purchase new games, whether that's at retailers or PlayStation Store. We remain committed to delivering a world-class gaming experience to our fans, and we thank you for your continued support. So I, didn't read every sentence there, but I put the meat of it there in front of you. So I just want to know, how does that hit you? What were your initial reactions? Any sort of thoughts on any and all of that?
Okay. I haven't bought physical media in years. Majority of consumers have not bought physical media in years. People are acting like this is happening now, that you can't buy disc now. You can't play your disc anymore. That is not true. That is not the case. Whatever disc you have, you can play. You will be able to play, unless they put some type of update out on the console that doesn't allow that. But they're right. This is where the consumer demographic is going, to more digital versus physical media. If people were buying physical media, then this wouldn't be a thing. They would still produce it, but the majority of people are going digital. So,
Now, do you know, Matt, I have a produce stand out back. Are you aware of that?
You have a what out back?
A produce stand.
Produce stand, yeah. Tomatoes and
No.
cucumbers and stuff.
I sell one banana, and I sell 100 apples.
Okay.
What's selling more?
The bananas, because you only have one of them.
The 100 apples are the apples. Because I guess what the point I'm trying to make here is the numbers that they give are skewed because there's more digital games available on the platform than there are physical. Not every game gets a physical release. And
why is that?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. I think, first of all, we've been trained, or we've been trained is the right way. We've been manipulated into digital for a long time in the gaming space. Think about it. When the 360 era was going on, you got the game in a case. There was a manual. There was reversible covers. The whole game was on the disc. First they came for the manuals. Then they came for the reversible covers. Then they came for not putting the full game on the disc and just essentially making that disc being a launcher. And now they're coming for the whole thing and saying, you know what, we want to control the whole point of sale here, that, we are going to cut cost. Sony, who makes Blu-rays, big part of their business, is all of a sudden going to say, we're going to stop producing disc because that's what the consumer wants. But then when you look at the leaked Insomniac report, actually that was not the case. That, when you look at the Ratchet and Clank games and Returnal and Astrobot, those games, and Spider-Man, those games all sold more physical than they did digital. But when they lump it in with the 100 apples and the one banana, the digital has more sales because there's just more digital games on their platform. So as I get old, and this is not directed at you, this is just directed at people in general who just sort of shrug this off, is as I get older and I evaluate my place in life, I have to start thinking beyond my ears and my nose. I have to start thinking about other people and how this decision affects other people. And not everybody is affluent in the world. Not everybody can afford everything in the world. And some people's gateway into gaming was having things handed down to them, buying used, only can afford one game, so they buy it physical. Regardless if the game is on there or not, it still can be traded in, and then they can go ahead and buy something else. So this to me feels like not because of where the consumers want. This feels to me this is what the executives want. They want to control the point of sale, everything funneled in through their retail store. They can cut costs on production of disc, and they no longer have to deal with retailers. They no longer have to deal with the production and all these things. And that to me is not great, because I think it has an effect where it feels like they're going to continue to monetize existing customers right? And it's not about, and I think the way they framed it too is disgusting. The way they say this is the consumer trend. Almost like gaslighting the customer. Well, you wanted this, you're the one that did this, and we're just doing what you want. When you know that the numbers, again, are manipulated. Now, I'm not denying that digital sells more than physical, but there is a certain amount of people in the world, whether they're collectors or, again, the people that are not as fortunate in the world, that they rely on discs, places where there's not internet, people that can't afford, like the games like we buy, we just talked about in the Steam sale, where $70 in a summer sale is a hardship for them, and they get 1 or 2 games a year, and maybe they need to trade it in. As these prices go up with the consoles, we're talking $1,000 machines here, they're going to kill this fucking industry. And we're just going to be left with experiences rather than individual games if we keep going down this path. And it's going to be just monetizing, finding ways to continue to monetize your existing customer base is kind of a scary thing. And, less options for places that you can buy things. On PC, it's an open platform, right? You can download your games. You can burn them on disk if you want. You can keep them that way. I can't go to PlayStation and download my game on, through normal means. I have to crack the system and do various things to download it and keep it. PC's always been an open platform. You could put a disk drive on your system if you wanted to, and to back up your games and play them. It just feels like Sony and even Xbox is going to do this too, because let's put it this way: if Sony is not going to print the disc anymore, who's printing the disc for Microsoft? Those Blu-rays, right? And what prevents Sony then from not having the deep discounts? They don't have incredible discounts as it is. They do have sales, but it's sales on a lot of games that have been around forever. It feels like to me that this was their Don Matrix step on the rake 2013 Xbox moment. It has gone so viral. I'm going to give you a stat here, Matt, that Sony put this out. What was this, July 1st?
Yeah. I don't know.
And they didn't. It was the 4th of July weekend, but they didn't make another social media post for 5 or 6 days. Okay, their first post after 6 days was to promote a wireless fighting stick peripheral. As of 2 days ago, that post, you ready for this? Had 4 times the views than the Grand Theft Auto 6 announcement. 14 million views in 7 hours. And, you see all these other, companies poking fun at Sony. I don't know. Maybe this blows over. Maybe it doesn't. But Xbox would sure like to go back to 2013 and do it over again. And they've never recovered since then. And we'll see what Sony does here in the next 24 to 36 months. If they backtrack, if they don't backtrack, they stick to their guns. But it is it is a bad thing, I think, for Sony and Microsoft to do here. And I think it's disappointing. Again, not for me. I prefer the digital. It's easier. But I know the risk. The risk is not great. The risk is not ideal because they could pull these games off of your system at any time, right? Just like they did with the movies. They're closing down the stores for PS3 and Vita here in the coming months. And that's kind of where I'm at. That the just because I don't do physical, it doesn't mean I don't think it should go away. And it's books and records and DVDs are on an upswing. They've had the biggest, upswing in the last couple of years.
Because people are buying them. Yeah. People aren't buying physical games.
I'm not going to debate that back and forth. The numbers would say that when people want to buy physical, they buy physical, but there's not as many games being printed physical as possible. So let's take Crimson Desert. I don't think you can buy that physically, can you?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
because I mean, what about? I mean, everything on Steam is digital. No one bitches in Steam about these people should be put out physical. I know they're a reseller, but these games, PC games, used to come out on disc all the time. You put them in your computer. Fuck, my computer didn't have a goddamn disc drive.
Right. I think what the difference there is Steam came out as a digital storefront and allowed people to put their games there, where Sony was physical.
Became extremely popular.
Right, but it's an open platform, meaning you could download those games and you could put them on disc. You can go to GOG and you can get the DRM and do all that stuff. Where Sony is, people have a whole library in those things and potentially take them away. It is a great debate that can go on to the end of time. Again, my preference is digital. And I know what the risk that inherently comes with that someday Sony could close up shop and say, you know what, it's been a great ride, and all that money you've invested in it, poof, is gone. But these corporations, again, I don't see why I need to celebrate them taking things away from people. I think we should hold them accountable to find ways to continue growth in their business without continuing to monetize their existing customer base for every little thing, nickel and dime. And I think when Microsoft announced the price hike to Game Pass, we saw how many people canceled. I think you're going to see the same thing here with PlayStation.
I guess we'll see. I don't know. I'm a totally different spectrum on this. This is a business decision. They're doing what's best for them. Again, I don't think it's going to hurt one way or the other. Nintendo, Xbox, they all do digital. This is where everything's going. Look at how popular the streaming services are. This is where we are. This is what it is. I
don't disagree with any of that. My concern is, are we going to be the ones to pay the price, even though we're the digital guys? Are we going to be all of a sudden, there's no more, you have to admit when there's competition, we all benefit. And when there's no competition, we could be the ones that are footing the bill. And then, people can only be pushed so far financially before you say, you know what, that's, I can't do that anymore. We saw everybody do that with Game Pass, right? I can't do $30 a month.
Yeah, no, I'm one of them, right? I said, fuck that. I'm not paying that. I'm done. And I still haven't gone back. But that's right where I'm worried about me. I'm my choices, me, what I'm doing. Where you was talking before about you're worried about people, what they're going to do, how they're going to play games, and that. That's not my problem. Yeah, sure, it's selfish of me. I don't care. I gotta worry about me. I gotta worry about myself. I can't worry about every single person out there and what they can do and what they can't do. Okay, it's just like everyone telling me, this restaurant's the owner's a big MAGA person, or this restaurant here they're a big Democratic person. You shouldn't go there. Well, if I were to fucking listen to every person that told me what to do or not to do, I wouldn't be able to do a goddamn thing.
No, I don't think anybody's telling you what to do here. We're talking about, should a corporation pull a disc out of their system.
Well, you are. Larry on Discord said, they shouldn't be doing things without my consent. What the fuck does that even mean?
Well, I think, go ahead.
I mean, they don't owe you anything. If someone wants to stop producing something,
I got to get to the crux of this issue, Matt, because I am a kid who grew up fucking poor, and then I had watch my parents go to school at night while they worked, so I could have a nice life here. So roll back the tape for me. How are you such a pro management corporation guy and not thinking of someone who's can't rub two nickels together and go, you know what? I want to be more, forward thinking with this stuff rather than saying, yeah, it's a corporation, they can do it. And no shit, the corporation, they can do what they want. I mean, that's right. That's like telling me in the morning, eventually I'm going to die and I'm going to have to pay for that too. you know what I mean? Like those are no brain, like those are like conversation stoppers. Like, yeah, no kidding, corporations can do what they want. I completely get that, but I want to know why you feel like that's okay and justified. You just roll with it rather than saying, you know what, I'm not okay with that. I think I'm going to continue playing. I'm going to continue playing the games that I want and buy them digitally, but I still think other people who don't enjoy that should be able to play their games on disc.
I'm not saying it's okay, it's all right, but that's their choice. That's what they're going to do. Mike, I grew up poor. I'm still fucking poor. Trying to. And there's some shit I can't do. There's some shit I can do. But that's not the fucking corporation's fault. It's not my. It's just some things people can't do. Some people can't experience all the stuff, have all the things.
I think I think agree to disagree. What I would say is, I'm not going to sit idly here and say, good on the corporation for doing things to keep themselves, up and running and cutting costs when I feel like it's a little deeper than that it is one of many systemic things that these companies have done along the line to sort of pull back things from the consumer and continue to stick it to us under the guise of this is what the consumer wants. I'd have more respect for them to say, you know what, times are tough. We're putting out a console that's going to cost a lot of fucking money. And we know this is going to hurt a lot of people, but for us to continue making PS6s and PS7s and PS8s down the line, we got to think of ways for us to be profitable. And one of the ways for doing that is closing down some of these places that are printing the disc and controlling the revenue rather than sharing it with the Targets, the Walmarts, the Best Buys. As much as that would still suck, I'd have more respect in them saying, well, this is what the consumer, I'm taking things away from you guys because this is what you wanted. No, this is what you gave us over time. You know what? Some people like going to Amazon and getting their games at 50% off, playing it, and then trading it into GameStop and paying it forward and getting other things. Some people like subscribing to GameFly and getting something in the mail, playing it, and then getting a new one.
I'm not denying back in the day, man, it was nice getting, Good Friday, getting them 50% deals, and then, the following Sunday or Monday, you got them, delivered to you. That was a great feeling. But those things stopped. I stopped doing that. I started I get it digitally, or I can get this way, or do that, and then just started doing that. Of course, I don't buy as many games as I used to, neither anymore. It's the consumers, like you said, like they did with the Game Pass thing. Consumers can decide on this. They can boycott or stop buying games altogether from Sony or whatever. We'll see if that happens. I doubt it. and kind of
I think
go from there.
I think the odds of Sony going belly up is slim. I would tell you, man, if we didn't have the Rampocalypse going on right now, and Steam Machine could have get that thing out there, it'd be interesting to see how all that plays out, because people are going to say, all right, if I'm in a digital world now, if everything's going to be equal, PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam, then why the fuck what is the incentive to stay with Xbox and PlayStation when I can go to Steam, not pay to play online games? They got these sales that are all the time, deep cuts. They got a great return policy. If I play the game for less than 2 hours and I don't like it, I submit the thing in and I get my money back. You do that at PlayStation, they give you, the runaround. You can't even get through to them half the time. People, I think, would pivot if it said, if everything was equal, everything's going to be digital. But the problem is, I think, PC parts are so expensive right now, and the Steam Machine came out at a redonkulous price that people can't make the jump. But
it's also the simplicity of the matter, right? I'll put the Steam Machine in this, even though Steam Machine's a lot worse. So Steam Machine, PlayStation, Xbox, your Nintendos, right? You buy the game, you play the game. There's no tinkering, right? Whereas PC games, all right, you're going through, you're adjusting resolutions, you're adjusting your shaders, you're adjusting your with the DLSS
for now,
all that stuff.
I mean, yes, to your point, with the exception of like lately, right? I mean, you go into some of these console games now and they got all sorts of, performance, 60 frames this, 40 frames performance that, they have.
Yes, it's normally 2 or 3 switches compared to 50 on a PC.
And with these consoles getting more and more like, they're essentially PCs just with a custom die in them now, right? They're no longer, the days of the 360, PS3 funkiness are long. They're all the same AMD stuff inside, just with their own little twist. And I think the Helix they're talking about being a PC, right? You're going to have all that stuff there going forward. And who knows what Sony does with the handheld thing. But yeah, the simplicity, I think that gets back to the Steam Machine, right? It's supposed to be a console like experience, something that you put under the TV. And I think, again, if everybody... not the casuals, but everybody who's deep in the weeds, like people like us, are now at a crossroads going, we'll talk about Xbox here and very quickly. What's the incentive to play? What's the incentive to stay with these companies anymore? If you're just getting rid of, franchises, you're getting rid of features that people liked. If everything's going to be equal, I might as well go to the open platform system where I can shop Green Man Gaming, Epic, GOG, Steam, other places, and all that stuff feeds into Steam as well. And I can have my library all centralized in one place. Where I'm thinking of these other places that are taking things away from me that I've purchased, and that they continue to raise the prices to subscribe to them so I can play online. In this other place, I can play for free. It's it gives you pause to what is really the benefit to keep those systems. And as some guy who's got the 24 or 23 year tag on my Xbox profile of loyalty, I've never once unsubscribed over 23 years. And we just heard Maniac say last week, after 23 years, he stopped subscribing to Xbox. So they're interesting times afoot. The closing of the Vita and the PS3 stores is probably less interesting to me, because that is, a long time to have those propped up. I think the shame on Sony there is to let those stores deteriorate in such a way. They didn't have any forward thinking of moving those games over to just having one central store that people can buy things. You try to go buy something on a Vita or a PlayStation 3 store, it's cumbersome. It takes you forever. You can't actually pay with a credit card on those stores. You have to load money into your Sony account and then download them. It's just poor stewardship of those stores, which gets back to the whole distrust of the digital library with Sony and these other platforms, that like all these things I'm investing in now, is this what lies ahead for me with the PS6 and 7? Is the PS5 going to deteriorate like this? But because Matt, you have games on Steam that are probably how old? 10 years old, maybe longer.
Mm-hmm.
You still go into the Steam. They keep updating that, and you can still download your 10-plus-year-old game on there with no problem, right? You try to download a game on the PS3 era, PS Vita era, you got to carve out a whole. There's no kayaking that afternoon, man. It is a whole day. It is a whole day dedicated to maneuvering around their store and downloading those systems. And that, I think, people are like, this gives me pause to continue investing in those systems when they're not good stewards of their old systems.
Yeah, I don't know how many people still have a PS3 or Vita that they're using, doing stuff with. I don't know how big of a deal with it. I mean, the squeaky gear gets the grease, type of thing. To minority people making a big stink about nothing, in a sense. I mean, do you still got your PS3 that you mess with?
Yeah, it's still hooked up. The only thing I don't have is a PS4, because the PS4 can be played on the PS5, but my PS3 is hooked up.
When's the last time you used it?
A couple months right before I got into this handheld craze. It's probably January, February.
Okay, all right. Well, mine, yeah, we all know I have my PS4. That's.
No, you don't need a PS4 if you got a PS5.
Okay.
So moving on to some even better news, Xbox laid off a bunch of people, right? And I think that's just businesses being businesses again, and they've spun off a bunch of their studios. I think the only good news, Matt, that really came out of any of this stuff is that the studios didn't lose ownership of those games. So they let Double Fine and Compulsion go and Ninja Theory, and they got to keep their ownership of those games. So Xbox doesn't own South of Midnight, doesn't own Psychonauts and everything like that. So that was good. I think the downside of the stuff that really, as I read through more of it, is id Software. Completely gutted, relegated to a support studio now. After they did all that great work with the Doom games, they had the id Engine. They're going to now have to abandon. I think the report is that id Software is now going to be a support for Obsidian as they work on a new Fallout game.
Yeah.
So a lot of their studios were completely gutted, and I think the kick in the nuts, the icing on the cake, this just came out, breaking news a little while ago, is that Xbox CEO Asha Sharma has been named as an advisor to the U.S. Federal Reserve's Productivity and Jobs Task Force.
How the hell does that happen?
After, letting, 1,600 people go Monday. And then imagine the psychological effect of not being one of the people that was let go, but saying, over the next 12 months, we're letting another 1,600 of you go. And every day you have to get up and show up and wondering if the axe is going to fall.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's almost like just rip the Band-Aid off and just let me, just let it get over with now. So yeah, I think if you're an Xbox customer, I hope you like the Halos. I hope you like the Gears. I hope you like the Fallouts, because I think that's what they're going to do. And Asha said that she wants to have 1 billion players a day playing on Xbox, where they had they had 1 billion players a year. How do they go from a billion players a year to 1 billion players a day?
Start cloning people or something, and you better start putting some games out there or something for fucking people to play and do shit.
The fear is that they're going to turn this into like a creator, they try. Everybody's chasing, there's trends in sports Everybody was, what was Belichick doing to win the Super Bowls, or what was, the New Jersey Devils with the trap back in the day when they were winning the Stanley Cups. Everything is a copy. No one has original ideas anymore. Everything's a copycat world. So now everybody's trying to chase those the Roblox, the universes that are happening there. You see Epic Games now wants to get all these creators in and have these, universes inside their system. And that's what someone is telling her. I guarantee you if you put Roblox or you put Fortnite in front of her 12, 15, 16 months ago, she would have no idea which one was which. You could have put you could have put an Xbox in front of her or a PS5 in front of her, and she wouldn't have known which one was which.
I agree with that. You could show her Minecraft and say this look this is what Roblox is.
This is the next Call of Duty game. It drives me more to the handhelds. It drives me more to these shmups, and it's like it just leaves a bad taste. But I'm excited still. The Wolverine's got me excited coming up. A few weeks here, we'll be playing the end of the month. We'll be playing the new Halo campaign Evolved. Mm-hmm. How excited! I'm very excited for the Fable game next year, and of course GTA later this year.
That's what I'm looking forward to. That's why I'm can't wait for.
And of course, all you digital people out there. I'm not saying you, Matt. All you digital people out there, the pro digital people, are going to be like, see, look how many people bought GTA digitally. Yeah. What was the other fucking option?
Correct. But again, there's no demand for it. Say what you will. There's no demand for it.
We'll never know if you take it away. It's one of those things you never know, Matt. Once you take it away, you never know if there's demand. Is there going to be, what I really know, we've talked a lot about here. What I really want to know is there going to be demand at the Freedom gas stations? Are you going to be going to these gas stations and getting your gas at a discounted rate?
No one's getting no.
You're not going to one of the 25 Freedom gas stations that's getting opened?
No, is this a Trump thing or something? I've not heard about this.
Yeah, he's opening up his own gas stations. Government.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
$3.47 a gallon. You're not going to line up?
No. It's gas. It's probably watered down gas that's going to fucking destroy your car. You gotta be shitting me.
It's not. This isn't communism, is it? White House touts launch of 25 Freedom Fuel gas stations. Yeah.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. I can't believe I'm hearing this. Are we in North Korea? It's like, dear leader. Oh, what?
There's only one way to leave this show, Matt. I think we've talked a lot. Matt's eyes are getting small. Every now and then I get a little bit nervous that the best of all the years have gone by.
Turn around.
Every now and then I get a little bit terrified. And then I see the look in your eyes. Bring us home, Matt.
Turn around. Bright eyes. Every
now and then I fall apart.
Turn around. Bright eyes.
We will never sing on a show again.
I need you more than now. I need you more than ever. I never was good at karaoke.